What's up, everybody? My name is Austin Haney, and if we haven't met before, I am a teacher in China. And perhaps like many of you who are watching this video, I am teaching online this semester, which is okay. We're doing the best with what we can work with, right? But what that means practically for my students is they have less of an opportunity to meet me and just get to know my personality and what I'm like and, to get to know the little quirks about me. But also they have less of an opportunity to ask some of the questions about what is our class going to be like and how can I make sure I'm prepared and where do I go if I have a question and all these kind of things that like students have as fears and concerns and questions at the beginning of a semester. They can't just approach you after class and ask you because you're online. And so in my opinion, there's really two things that are going to happen. Either the students aren't going to say anything, or you're about to get a whole bunch of emails and text messages and whatever else early in the semester in your inbox. And so I think a great way to kind of solve that problem and also again, get to know your students and let them get to know you a little bit is by making a start here video. And what I'm really thinking about in this video is that you just are making the most engaging, most personal, most welcoming video that you can. That's also helpful for your students in just getting started. And so I thought of a few things that you might want to include in your start here video. And then I'm just going to show you a little example of mine. So there's really 5 main elements that I think make a great start here video. And the first one is that it's personal. So I encourage you, just introduce yourself, say some personal things about you, just like let them know that you're human. That's a huge thing that we want to do when we're teaching online is to not just be people far away in a different country or different place that are just like robots recording content. We want to humanize our online experience. And so having a personal message where maybe you have some things in the background that you show, or you almost do it vlog style and you just show the students around where you're at and where you're going to be doing your teaching from. Whatever it is, I just encourage you throughout your start here video to just make it as personal as possible. The second thing that you should do in your start here video is just to show how the content that you're going to be talking about in this class is going to be relevant in the students' lives. So this will be a great opportunity, like for me teaching English, to show that this is not just an academic skill that we're learning, that this can be something that's going to be beneficial to them, whether they want to listen to English music or whether they want to go and live in another country. So I'm going to kind of build in motivation and my own passion and excitement, what got me on this journey. I'm going to build in content relevancy. Why does this matter in our actual everyday real lives? Why does it matter to me? And why can it or should it matter to you as my students? The third thing that I think is super important in a start here video is just showing the students the basics of navigating whatever learning management system you're using or whatever platform you're using to interface with your students this semester. So of course, one workaround for this might be if you just like send them a bunch of PDF documents, kind of like explaining the different things that you're doing and giving them a bunch of written instructions. But what I encourage you is to create a student account on whatever learning management system that you're using and just show them what it looks like from a student view and how to get around to some basic things like how to change some things on their profile if they make a mistake, or how to find where the class material is going to be posted, or maybe what it looks like to respond to a discussion board post, or how to see their grades. Just some basic things. I know for me, teaching in China, I'll never forget, it was our end of semester on our first year, and they wanted us to just submit grades, which didn't seem like too big of a process or too difficult. But the website they sent us to submit the grades on was completely in Chinese, and I didn't read Chinese. And there was also a lot of pressure because we didn't want to get the students' grades wrong. And if we happened to like make a mistake, there was no changing it. It was like in stone. And so we couldn't change it. And so I remember there was a lot of anxiety for navigating this new website in a different language and also it being like high stakes. And so having that experience myself, I can recognize that for my students, they might have similar feelings when they're navigating a new website in a different season without their teacher physically present. It's in their second language, and it's a little bit high stakes for them because their grade's dependent on it. So I think just making part of your Start Here video being about navigation would be super, super helpful. The fourth element that you just got to include in a Start Here video is kind of like what you would do on a syllabus, and that's talking about grading. So how will the students receive their grades in your class? Will there be quizzes? Will there be tests? How will they know when things are due? Do you have a late policy? You don't have to go through everything on a syllabus or like all of your policies and expectations, but I think just giving students at least like a hint of how they're going to be graded this year, and also like where they can find out more if they want to find out more. That's just like more than even being like helpful or resourceful. I think that's like ethical, and for them to know how they're going to be graded this semester. And so showing them that, you don't have to tell them all the details about the quizzes and the exams, but just showing them what the structure of your class is going to look like, super, super helpful. And then the fifth thing, and this is the final thing that I think you should include in your Start Here video, is just to make sure you show your students how they can communicate with you. Okay, so if they have a question, if they have something that they would just like to ask you about, or they need help in some way, do you have a phone number you want them to use, or would you rather them email you, or is there something like WeChat or another form of communication that they can use? Basically, if all things break down, how can they get in contact with you? And I think one of the biggest things, again, is we want to humanize our learning experiences. And so if you have some rules where you're not going to respond to text like immediately, just tell students like, hey, when you're awake, I'm usually asleep. And so it may take me a little bit of time to respond to you, but I will respond to you and I'll do my best to help you out. I think that making yourself available, but also making yourself human, is a great thing to do at the start of the semester. So that's my 5 tips. I hope that you can make your own Start Here video, or whatever you would like to call it. And I think it'll be super useful to your students in helping them find their way around and knowing that you have got things prepared for them. And I think it will also be helpful for you in clarifying a little bit of what am I going to do in each of these situations? Like, how am I going to do grading? How am I going to do communication? How am I going to do whatever? I personally love making these little teacher tips and teacher tutorials. So if you're interested in catching more of them in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so you never miss a new one when it comes out. All right. See ya.